For our impacts of global climate change project, we're doing continental glacier loss. So what is a continental glacier? They're often more commonly referred to as an ice sheet. They're a landlocked body of ice spanning over 50,000 square kilometers, and they contain 99% of freshwater ice on Earth. As you can see on the right, this is your typical continental glacier before climate change. So what is happening now with continental glaciers? The ice mass is decreasing due to increased global temperatures and overall climate change. There are 40 billion tons of glacier loss since 1994. And glacier loss can further contribute to climate change because the loss of ice mass increases sea levels. As you can see in the picture, Greenland and Antarctica continental glaciers are losing ice and because the ice is melting and is becoming more water.
So an example of the Greenland ice sheet is shown in the image to the left. As you can see, the ice sheet is melting, as you can see the pooling of water on the side.
So for the next set of slides and charts, we wanted to introduce this statistic, which is that 532 gigatons of ice was lost by the Greenland ice sheet in 2019, and that is the most ice that has been lost by the Greenland ice sheet since it started being tracked. So we refer to the Greenland ice sheet as the ticking time bomb. And as you can see from the chart on the right, there's been a steady increase in the melting rate of the Greenland ice sheet over the years. There was a slight levity between the years 2013 and 2017, where it sort of melted out a little bit. But as I said before, 2019 saw the most melting the Greenland ice sheet has ever seen. And considering that the Greenland ice sheet contains 2,850,000 square kilometers of ice, this steady melting in conjunction with the amount of ice that's there is going to lead to drastic impacts on the environment. So using the business as usual model, which is saying that we do nothing to reduce the causes of climate change, by the year 2100, 8 to 45% of the total mass of the Greenland ice sheet will be lost. So all that water is going directly into the ocean, raising sea levels by between 5 and 33 centimeters. And also before the year 3000, all ice will be lost in the Greenland ice sheet, which will raise sea levels by 7.2 meters. And this is enough to flood most of New York City. So as you can see from the chart on the right, from panels E to H, it models the amount of ice that will be on the Greenland ice sheet. And as you can see, by it reaches panel H, which represents before the year 3000, all ice will be gone.
So next, we're going to delve into the concept of the rising sea levels, which is caused by the global warming of the Earth, as discussed in previous slides. So the loss of ice mass increases seawater, and although that it's decreasing the level of ice, there are changes and fluctuations in ice mass as it is decreasing, and scientists are able to predict or observe the projections of ice mass loss through an experiment called GRACE, and that stands for Gravity, Recovery, and Climate Experiment. And there's an example of this experiment depicted to the right for Greenland and Antarctica. On the x-axis here, we have the calendar year, and then the y-axis, we have the ice mass. And you can see there are fluctuations, as I had discussed before, even though it's still decreasing, and more loss leads to higher sea levels.
Now, one example of many for glacier loss is the loss of the Icelandic glacier Jökull, part of Icelandic. This glacier was lost due to climate change, which caused it to rapidly melt. Now, Iceland decided to have a memorial for this beloved loss of the glacier, displaying the plaque, which is depicted in the right, warning future generations of what is happening.
So some consequences to neglecting the global warming and climate change issues that we have discussed in our slides include at least these 5 issues, and there are many more that go beyond these issues, but we listed the displacement of people. Islands eventually become completely engulfed by water, It diminishes the supply of drinking water, it threatens our food supply, and lastly, we listed that the increase in global temperature by replacing white reflective surfaces with dark absorptive surfaces, which causes sunlight to be absorbed, not reflected.